Football is like a game of chess. It's all about making all of the small moves to set up the big move. You can't just from the start have an instant checkmate. You have to do the small things to set yourself up for success. The Green Bay Packer organization, Brian Gutekunst, I feel understands that, knows that. I know he gets knocked on by a lot of Packer fans out there that he's too close to the hip. He plays things too safely, but I disagree. I think Brian Gutekunst has the best interest in mind for the organization, not just it being nearsighted, looking to the here and now, but looking into the future, looking into not just this year, but for the next years to come, and especially looking ahead to next year. And I think the Green Bay Packers just made a very good move in that they did not go and sign Von Miller. We don't know the details of the contract yet, but you're looking at a guy who's still productive. And it says right here, the Commanders get much needed boost in Von Miller. Yes, he is going to be that boost defensive player, but I'm sure it's going to cost them a little bit of money. And the Green Bay Packers are looking at their cap space and they're looking into the future. And we're going to talk about all of that here in a moment. But you see an article right here out of ESPN, Von Miller to join Commanders on a 1-year deal. Sources say we don't know what the deals, what the details of that deal are. And then you look at this Packer source, Freddie Boston, and I couldn't disagree more with what Freddie Boston has to say. It says the Packers caught sleeping on NFC rival lands the pass rusher they desperately needed. I disagree with that. Okay. So, and I know there's a lot of Packer fans out there that would probably disagree with that as well. But it says right here, Packers miss an opportunity to bolster their pass rush depth in Von Miller. Yes, they can get depth, but they can have depth at making the right moves and not getting a guy like Von Miller. To me, that's the same thing as having a Preston Smith on your team, somebody that's going to be productive at times, but also slows you down a little bit for what Jeff Hafley's looking to do there. He's looking for speed guys who can go sideline to sideline, guys that are crazy athletic. And I know Von Miller is crazy athletic, but look right here. It says, no, Von Miller isn't going to start every game and earn all pro honors. The best days are of his career are behind him. Stop right there. Okay, that you've said enough. That's exactly it. The best years are behind him. You don't need to go out and pay that. Why do I say that? Well, you look at the depth chart for the Green Bay Packers. You got Lucas Veness, who the Green Bay Packers obviously feel that Lucas Veness, and it could be one of those things. And I'm hoping it's not a pride thing that, okay, we've already invested, a first round pick in this dude, a really high first round pick to get Lucas Veness. But they already knew, we all knew as Packer fans that this dude was incredibly raw coming into the NFL. We knew it was going to take some years to develop. And this would be the year. This would be the year that Lucas Veness is bearing all out there. And guess who his backups are? You've got Sorrell. So if Veness isn't panning out, you've got Sorrell. You've got Brenton Cox Jr., who he looked incredible at the latter part of last year when he had the opportunity. Brenton Cox Jr. absolutely answered the call when called upon. And I really love that dude. You've got Rashawn Gary, Kingsley Egnekbari, Aaron Mosby, Colin Oliver. You've got depth there. There's no really need for extra depth, because if you get a guy like Von Miller, an aging guy like that, who can be a difference maker at times, then who are you putting in the back burner? Because the Packers have some young guys that we're still, waiting to see what they're going to be made of. And I think Jeff Hafley is building something here, especially when we start talking about Brian Gutekunst. And here's why I think it was wise for Brian Gutekunst not to go and do that. Zach Tom is due an extension. Okay, you're looking at one of the best right tackles up and coming in the game, period, hands down. And Brian Gutekunst already said that, hey, we've had some healthy conversations about Zach Tom and locking him up. And certainly that's something that is an importance to them. That's certainly something that they would love to do. Tom is going to be making just over $3 million this year right here. So even if the Packers, decide to, just restructure a deal, which it looks like they're going to do, I would much rather than put the money into a contract extension without overpaying him before it's too late. Get Zach Tom locked up right now. And then what about Elton Jenkins? We desperately might need that dude at center. And I'm not saying that the Packers, that's an absolute must, but you're looking at Jenkins let's not forget how good this dude is at right guard. Or at left guard. I mean, he was so good. He is so good, and they choose to move him to center. Keep in mind, I think Elton Jenkins is going to be probably one of the top centers in the league this year if he makes that transition, especially as the year progresses and say midway through the year, you're going to start seeing Elton Jenkins separating himself from the rest of the pack when it comes to centers in the NFL. So Jenkins is slated to make $12.8 million. And he has a cap hit of 17 million, and they're looking to restructure that deal because he's holding out. So they need to get that wrapped up before training camp starts. Because you hate to see guys, in it extending out into training camp without them being signed. But then you also have the small signings, right? So what about the guys like the Packers brought on, guys like Hardman, who are already having an impact out there. He might not make the team, but you go and make those small signings that makes everybody better around you. Guys like Isaiah Simmons, who I'm super pumped up about that dude. You got Gregory Jr., Christian Welch, all those guys that are those small signings that Brian Gutekunst will have plenty to choose from given the right time. There's going to be cuts made. There's going to be all of that. There's a lot of competition happening with these teams, and then there's going to be guys that are vets that are going to just get cut because it's like, well, we can save some cap space, and those will be opportunities for the Packers maybe to capitalize in the right situation at the right time. Brian Gutekunst is no fool. The dude seriously knows what he's doing. You guys got to believe that and trust that. And I think the Packers made an absolutely good move and not going and looking desperate and being like, okay, wow, we really need Von Miller here. What message is that sending to Lucas Veness? What message is that sending to the other guys on the roster, especially even the young guys like Sorrell, who I think could have a dramatic impact? So if it's me, I would rather take a Sorrell, a guy that's going to be, the skies could be the limit, as opposed to somebody like a Von Miller that's incredibly aging that you're going to have to, piece in there and get strategic with throughout the game, when just might disrupt what Jeff Hafley's looking to do there, and just get young bodies in there, get speed bodies in there. They're going to go sideline to sideline, be incredibly disruptive, not just rush the passer, but guys that are going to stop the run, guys that are going to be looking for that jet sweep, or an athletic quarterback, a dual threat quarterback that is going to do, that's going to keep the ball and run. So anyways, just leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts. I love the move by Brian Gutekunst to not look desperate and go out there and sign it. Leave your comments, and as always, go Pack Go.